Hello guys, how's it going? It's Kaeyoh here. Today is July 5th and we just got the Gul'dan PTR patch. And today's topic is going to be the rise of the specialists. And in this, I'm going to go over a couple of the different patch notes that I feel like will have an effect on drafting, shot calling, and playstyle on a lot of the large maps. So, what am I talking about really? Well, in this particular patch, Blizzard made some significant changes to globes and healing wells and minions that overall I think are going to change the game from being super zergy and dependent on just having the straight up strongest 5 vs 5 team fight to encouraging people to use broader strategies of split pushing and taking advantage of the map, using minions to push, and just getting more value out of catapults and all that. So let's get right on into it. First of all, regeneration globes have been buffed pretty significantly. You now get double the health. So we saw the changes 6.24% of maximum health over 4 seconds to now restore 12% of max health over 5 seconds. So this just means that the globes are going to do a lot more for you. They also restore more mana, 8% of maximum mana over 5 seconds. And with it scaling by maximum mana, it's going to be good for your healers and your mages in the late game that have a larger mana pool. And overall, this is going to be a significant change for the lane phase as well, because when you're in lane phase, if you're running a tri-lane, for example, and you're controlling the lane and pushing, getting all of that mana and health is going to be a great resource for you to keep shoving and getting more out of your push. If you're on the other team trying to sit in a bush and gank, and you're not getting any of these globes, it's going to probably be hurting you in the long run. So the other area that this affects you is during the solo lanes. Now, solo lanes are going to be a little bit more interesting in my opinion because whoever is winning the solo lane is really going to start to outshine the other player because of how much controlling these globes is going to snowball that lane. So if one guy is, bullying the other dude out of the lane where they're getting all the globes, they're going to start taking towers pretty quickly if they don't have a gank presence or something to come help out. And so that's pretty cool. I think basically the takeaway from this is that it's going to encourage and reward pushing in the lane phase. Another area this might be significant is during objectives where you have a objective right by a lane, like in Sky Temple or Infernal, and you swing out into the lane in between the objective and you get that globe for your whole team. That's 12% maximum health for everyone on your team. That's pretty massive. 8% of your healer's mana. So basically, TLDR, control those globes, guys. Try to deny the enemy from getting their globes because now that's going to have a much bigger impact. People make a big deal out of, doing 1% of somebody's max health. Well, if you deny a globe, you're denying 12% of their max health as a heal. So pretty big stuff there. Now, moving on, healing wells, that change, not as big of a deal, right? The biggest takeaway here is that the mana regeneration has been increased by 10% when you tap, and the cooldown has been increased by 20 seconds. So going back to the lane phase, being able to spend all of your mana to use spells for pushing, especially for like specialists, is going to be much more rewarded now because when you go tap, you're going to get more of that mana back. Your healer is going to get more of his mana back to help you guys keep pushing, keep sustaining. That's one of the things that you always see, like in a tri-lane when they're pushing, somebody's taking a lot of damage and the healer has to constantly use his heal to like help that person tank the tower and stuff, and usually that healer will go pretty quickly. So now you have a little more resource and be able to spam out those things like roaches and Sylvanas using her W constantly, all of that good stuff. And I just think in general when it comes to shrine fights and stuff, getting the mana is a nice change because right now when your team kind of backs off and does that tap, your healer gets the short end of the stick. He barely gets any mana back, so he can't really do that much more for you. And this kind of fixes that problem. It's a little bit of an imbalance in the impactfulness of healing wells. Okay, let's get into the crazy stuff, guys. Minions are now doing double damage to structures. Range, melee, and wizard minions, so everything is getting the benefit. So now, going back to what I said about specialists, being able to push waves up to the forts is going to do a lot more. You're going to get a lot more out of it. Also, catapult minions have been buffed. The exact changes: attack range increased by 20%, sight range increased by 17%, and the catapults will now fixate on structures. So this is relevant when you're in situations where like your catapult is trying to hit the core and then the minion wave spawns and they get distracted. Now it's going to keep hitting the core and actually put some pressure there on the core. So what does this mean? Well, first of all, getting keeps early is going to be much better because the catapults are going to be more effective in general now. And you will get a lot more out of getting your minions to actually attack structures. So the biggest thing that complements is a split push style play. If you think about Cursed Hollow, for example, currently in the meta right now, pretty much everybody just rotates the objective, even the specialists. It's just a Zerg fest on both sides, usually trying to make sure they get that tribute. Now if you leave a Sylvanas or a Zagara top lane, they're going to get a ton of work done, and if left uncontested, they very well might get that fort all by themselves. So we have to start watching out for that, start looking for those plays, and when that opportunity is available, shot callers, start learning how much a specialist can get done. If you delay for 2 minutes, how much can they actually get? Can they get that whole fort? These are good things to start learning and start just taking into account when making decisions on a map. So that's pretty much the major changes that I wanted to go over. And what I think is going to happen is, in draft at least, players and teams are going to have to start considering the wave clear options more of a priority. And the split push options as well are going to be more important, especially on the large maps like Cursed Hollow, Garden of Terror, Infernal Shrines, and all that good stuff. And we might actually see more situations where people opt to give up an objective to split push. And I like this because what it does is it creates just more of a variety when it comes to the types of plays that you have at your disposal and the different ways that you can create pressure on your opponent rather than just having to pick the strongest straight up team comp to win a team fight. And characters like Zagara and Sylvanas traditionally, in this last meta patch or whatever, at the higher end of the level of play, those characters are pretty much picked for their team fight prowess anyways. They're not really picked because they're good pushers. Sylvanas is a bit of an exception. Sylvanas has always been used as kind of a counter pick. If the other team has an Abathur or something, Sylvanas is really good at helping accentuate a push, and we see that especially on maps like Infernal and Battlefield of Eternity. Sylvanas really accentuates the push of those objectives once you get them. So now I think we'll see those characters being picked to actually put pressure on the side lanes and split push and do all that cheesy stuff that they love to do. And in this patch as well, Zagara got a huge rework, and Nidus was really buffed and everything, and it was all basically surrounding giving her a stronger kit to put pressure on the map. So I really hope that we do see a bit more of a variety open up, and I'm excited for it because, as you guys know, I was always a Zagara main, and I really love playing Zagara. And Sylvanas, Zagara, all that stuff, seeing these characters being able to thrive and do what they do best is going to be really cool. Specialist is a role that Blizzard designed for this game for that reason, to be able to make those kind of plays. And currently, it's kind of stagnant in people not really making use of those characters' kits for those reasons. So I'm glad to see them making this change. I think it's going to be healthy for the game. I think it's going to open up a lot more variety when it comes to strategy and make decision making a little bit more challenging and fun for the players on both sides. Anyways, hope you guys have a wonderful day. Have fun getting out there, making plays, split pushing the map. And don't underestimate these hidden changes when it comes to characters. You always want to think about how it's going to affect the different roles in the game. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Take care.